This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
OpenAI was reportedly hacked. Tesla kind of showed off their new AI-powered Gen 2 Optimus robot. Apple gets a super valuable seat at a board that I think the feds are going to be investigating, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. All right, there's so much going on in the world of AI. You can spend hours, literally each and every day, trying to keep up. That's what we do. Or you could do the smart thing, work smarter, not harder, and join us almost every single Monday as we bring you the AI news that matters. Well, that's what we're doing today. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and welcome to Everyday AI. This is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter, helping us all learn and leverage generative AI to grow our companies and to grow our careers. So that sounds like you. Maybe this is your first time. Thank you for joining us. If you're listening on the podcast, check out your show notes, as always, for more information. But more importantly, you're going to want to go to youreverydayai.com. That link is in there. So make sure you go sign up for our free daily newsletter. So yes, this is a live stream, unedited, unscripted. So, let's go ahead and just jump straight into the AI news that matters for the week of July 8th. All right, y'all. Even though there was the 4th of July weekend here in the U.S., there was a ton going on. And, for our live stream audience, thank you for joining us. Dr. Harvey Castro and Kobe and Dr. Scott Dell, Michael, Tara, Brian, everyone, thanks for joining in. Let me know as we go along what you think of some of these AI news stories. I think some of them are pretty impactful. All right, so let's start at the top. Grabbing a lot of headlines right now is, OpenAI has gotten hacked, and internal details were stolen, according to reports. As first reported by Bloomberg, a hacker infiltrated OpenAI's internal messaging systems last year, extracting information on the design of the company's AI technologies. So this did reportedly happen last year, but was just reported. So this new breach involved details from online forum discussions among OpenAI's employees regarding the firm's latest technology. So OpenAI executives revealed the breach to employees and the board in April of last year, opting not to disclose it publicly since they said no customer or partner data was compromised. The incident was not deemed a national security threat, with executives speculating that the hacker was an individual unaffiliated with any foreign government. OpenAI also did not notify federal law enforcement agencies about the breach, and no customer or partner data was reportedly stolen. In a separate incident, but also pretty important, OpenAI disrupted 5 covert influence operations aiming to misuse its AI models for deceptive activities online. So the Biden White House administration here in the U.S. is reportedly planning to implement safeguards around advanced AI models like ChatGPT to protect U.S. AI technology from potential threats posed by countries like China and Russia. We've talked about this before on the show, 16 AI companies pledged at a global meeting earlier this year to develop AI technology safely amidst regulatory challenges and emerging risks in the field. The breach underscores the ongoing challenges of cybersecurity in the AI industry and the importance of safeguarding sensitive AI design information from unauthorized access. Y'all, especially, as we're getting closer here to election season in the U.S., expect to see a lot more of these kind of data breaches, unfortunately, at these large AI companies. I do think that this is going to be the norm. We've heard about data breaches for decades, but, this is probably one of the first bigger ones as it comes to, either ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, Anthropic's Claude. This is one of the first bigger ones. And again, reportedly, this did not include any customer or partner data, only internal documents and discussion. All right. Speaking of New developments. Tesla has unveiled its second generation humanoid robot Optimus at a World AI conference. So Tesla introduced its second generation humanoid robot Optimus Gen 2 at the World Artificial Intelligence Conference in Shanghai, China. However, it wasn't really like a hands-on demo, as the newest Tesla robot powered by a lot of AI was behind a glass display. So Optimus is equipped with Tesla's self-developed neural network and computer vision technology, positioning itself as a versatile robot of handling capable various tasks. So Tesla's CEO, Elon Musk, projected that Optimus could potentially boost Tesla's market cap to 25 trillion US dollars in full-scale production. I'll just go ahead and say that's not going to happen. Tesla, Elon Musk is always saying some very outrageous things. I don't think that this is going to all of a sudden make Tesla a $25 trillion company anytime soon, when the most valuable companies in the world are right around $3 trillion. So some overly optimistic projections, as always, by Elon Musk. And despite the attention that Optimus has received at the event, it did not move or interact with visitors, just really more sparking curiosity about its capabilities. So more or less, dancing robot behind glass. Also, the cost. That's what everyone's wondering, right? How much is this going to cost? And when might this be released? So, well, while there's no official release date or pricing data, Elon Musk has reiterated in the past that he expects the Tesla Optimus price to be around half the cost of a car. So considering Tesla's most popular Model Y starts at about $45,000, this suggests a price point of maybe less than $25,000 or $30,000 for this new Optimus Gen 2 AI-powered humanoid robot from Tesla. So I'm not overly optimistic that we will see that $25,000 to $30,000 price point, and I'm also not overly optimistic that this is going to land anytime soon. If I'm being honest, I'd put a little more of my bet on NVIDIA backed figure. I do think the figure robot, at least the demos that they've already shown, is probably a little closer to production. And you also have to think, where are these AI powered humanoid robots going to actually be used, right? Am I going to have one in my house doing my dishes? I mean, hopefully. Gosh, I did like 3 rounds of dishes yesterday. It's like, how is that even possible? So I don't know if even the Tesla figure are going to be more geared toward home. So you do have these much more quote unquote affordable AI powered humanoid robots, more in the $5,000 range, but those are seemingly a little bit more toys. And then you have these companies like Figure, like Tesla, and a lot of other ones that really the capabilities seem to be pushing what a human could in theory do, right? So when you think of production and manufacturing, that's where a lot of people are looking at, when a company might, buy a couple dozen of these, or a couple hundred, or a couple thousand of these, robots, humanoid robots in the future, especially as you start to pair them, as we saw with the Figure demo back in March, right? So when you start to pair them with computer vision, when you start to pair them with a large language model, that's when the capabilities of these humanoid robots really come into question on what are they capable of, or maybe what aren't they capable of, right? So it's pretty exciting, or maybe concerning developments, depending on your thoughts on the topic. So yes, also Dr. Scott loved this, talking about Atlas, the Atlas robots as well. So yeah, we've covered those on the show here as well. Tara saying she wants one. Yeah, I don't know. Would you want a one of these $25,000-$30,000 AI robots walking around your house? I'm iffy, right? I love AI technology. I love automation and doing as little as possible, especially here in the home. I don't know. Maybe my view on this will change in a year or so. But right now, hey, even though it's seemingly a super affordable price, right? When you talk about $25 to $30,000, if it can actually hit that price point, that doesn't seem like a lot. And especially if it's something, if it can go up and down stairs, if it can, do basic, basic tasks and chores around the house, it doesn't seem like a terrible price point. But I don't think at that price point still that we're going to be seeing these AI humanoids in houses for the most part anytime soon. Probably more assembly lines, I would say.
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI.
All right, let's keep it going. So our next piece of AI news, and this one I would say is not too shocking. We did kind of call this, a month ago that this was probably the case, but it is now confirmed. So according to Bloomberg reports, most Siri enhancements, most of the shiny AI powered ones at least, won't be available until 2025 with an official rollout planned for spring. So that's according to Bloomberg reports. In the highly anticipated big Siri upgrade that promised a much more human-like understanding of context, we're not going to probably get that until spring 2025. So iOS 18 betas revealed a lot of new features, but the significant AI-powered improvements, including the new Siri, are reportedly going to be delayed. So a lot of these kind of Apple intelligence features that we saw with this new OpenAI and Apple partnership were kind of teased at the WWDC event now about a month ago. Developer beta users may get to test the new Siri in January, but a public debut is expected around spring as part of the iOS 18.4 upgrade. All right, so that is the magic number there and the magic date as to will the masses finally have a smart assistant? I don't know. But the delay in the Siri upgrade rollout means users will still have to wait longer for those smarter Siri features, including that new design and integration with ChatGPT. So, like I talked about, we hypothesized about this. Can't speak here this Monday morning. We talked about this actually last month, the day after WWDC rolled out, because we went back and listened and re-listened to the to the announcement from WWDC, specifically about Siri and about the future of this Apple intelligence. Right. And they kind of alluded to that you would be able to connect in the future your ChatGPT Plus subscription. So not a lot of people talked about that. Actually, I didn't see anyone aside from us talk about that. So it was almost a footnote in the keynote of the kind of partnership announcement between Apple and OpenAI. However, at the time, I said that's pretty significant because I would guess, and I literally said this June 11th, I said, I would guess that we are not going to be getting a smarter Siri this fall when this new rollout is unleashed in iOS 18, right? So that is when we will be getting some sort of AI in the new Apple ecosystem, right? So Apple did announce a couple of things. They announced their own internal large language model, which will actually just be seemingly handling a very small amount of user requests, right? So when users ask the new Apple intelligence questions, very few of them are going to be handled kind of on the internal large language model that Apple will be rolling out in its newer phones, or if you have an iPhone 15 or above. However, it seems like so many of these queries are actually just going to be sent to ChatGPT, to GPT-4 from OpenAI, and you just kind of have to click accept, which I talked about this at the time. I'm like, is this really AI on the new Apple phone? I don't really think so. I think it's just more of an intuitive way to launch ChatGPT in the background, which you can obviously get a lot of these answers now. But, the big news here is that Siri will not likely be coming anytime soon. So, yeah, we're probably going to be waiting at least 9 to 10 months to see this new smarter Siri, which is something that I talked about back in June. And also, are you going to need a paid ChatGPT Plus account? I think that's the thing that a lot of people are going to be looking at, and how many or how much of this new functionality that we saw in the kind of keynote from Apple, how much is going to require a paid $20 a month ChatGPT Plus account versus what will you be able to do with the base model? I'm not sure, but also I still wouldn't be surprised if you have to pay that $20 a month for this new quote unquote smarter Siri. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting here. Cecilia saying Siri needs remedial education for listening comprehension. Yes. My gosh, I couldn't agree more. Right. And kind of also, we've seen similar kind of delays from OpenAI. So when OpenAI had their kind of spring event back in May, so about that's probably about 8 weeks ago, they kind of teased this new GPT-4o. What a lot of people are calling her, right? Dr. Scott here referencing that, but this very intuitive, real-time, almost live assistant, right? Which is a real shift from how we've been using large language models right now, right? So how we use them right now, it's for the most part, text inputs. You can, input a photo. You can also talk and use dictation, but that's really all that is right now is dictation, right? So right now, large language models aren't understanding our voice. However, with this new kind of Siri release that is actually just tied to the GPT-4o model, that is presumably what we will be seeing. But OpenAI did just announce last week that they needed essentially another month, right? They said, all right, yeah, we showed you this really cool new interactive kind of creepy. It's kind of one of those things so good it's creepy. GPT-4o kind of live. We're calling it live Omni. Some people are calling it her. Some people are just calling it enhanced voice features. There's really no name, right? That's one thing I wish OpenAI would actually take a page out of Apple's book and just name this thing, right? What is this new, kind of live agent type, interaction that we're waiting for? That is also presumably here tied to the future Apple rollouts in Siri as well. So it should be pretty interesting to see, as well as this is tied to Microsoft, right? So that actually brings us to our next big story, and an interesting one here as well. All right, so Apple has joined Microsoft as a non-voting board member at, you guessed it, OpenAI. All right, so Apple has recently secured an observer seat on OpenAI's board of directors, a move that signifies its growing involvement in the AI space. So this position, to be filled by Apple's App Store head, Phil Schiller, allows Apple to gain insights into OpenAI's decision-making process. Microsoft, Apple's biggest rival, also holds a non-voting board seat on OpenAI since November 2023, following its multi-billion-dollar partnership with the AI startup behind ChatGPT. The Microsoft one came about in an interesting way. Essentially, the OpenAI board fired CEO Sam Altman in November, and then he was quickly reinstated a couple of days later. And with that, Microsoft also, presumably, like rightfully so, right? Like everyone in Microsoft stock was extremely volatile. And essentially what came out of that is Sam Altman was reinstated, and Microsoft also secured a non-voting board seat. So pretty interesting here. Apple reportedly getting the same. So both Apple and Microsoft have obviously been competing closely for the title of world's most valuable company, with Microsoft's recent AI initiatives helping it surpass Apple's market capitalization temporarily. So yeah, they're jostling back and forth, but funny enough, right? It's weird. It's almost like I've been saying this for like a year and a half, right? About how so much of our future economy is predicated on the success or failure of generative AI systems, right? Probably 4 years ago, no one, and I will say, well, I'll say almost no one, 4 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, almost no one had heard of OpenAI. I will say 99% of the US population had never heard of OpenAI. And now here it is. It is the core technology that is powering two of the three most valuable companies in the world in Apple and Microsoft, right? OpenAI is essentially powering both of these companies right now. Both companies are also working on and continuing to invest millions of dollars and a lot of human power into developing their own large language models and small language models. However, right now it is literally a quote unquote startup in OpenAI that is powering two out of the three most valuable companies in the world, right? With NVIDIA usually right there in the fold. So Apple's collaboration with OpenAI extends beyond the board seat, as obviously, like we just talked about, it plans to integrate ChatGPT into its devices. Here's the catcher, though, without any monetary payment to OpenAI. Apple got the legit, I think, steal of the year right here with this integration with OpenAI. So reportedly, we've talked about this on our AI News That Matters show a couple of weeks ago. So reportedly, Apple is not paying OpenAI for this integration. It's kind of like an unpaid intern. They're getting paid in quote unquote exposure, which does lead me to believe that there will be some sort of easy integration or some way that Apple will actually push or encourage users to upgrade to ChatGPT Plus to get certain features in its operating system. But the increasing ties between AI startups and tech giants like Apple and Microsoft have raised a lot of concerns about antitrust issues and the lack of transparency in decision-making process. And that's what I think no one is talking about here with this recent news of Apple, both the Apple partnership with OpenAI, but also this board seat situation. My gosh, I think this is really actually going to heat up current federal investigations, because right now, U.S. agencies, including the Federal Trade Commission and the Department of Justice, are conducting multiple investigations into potential anti-competitive practices by major tech companies in the AI industry, focusing really on Microsoft, OpenAI, NVIDIA, and Apple. So if nothing else, this is really going to heat up investigations. And those probes are aimed to determine if these companies are leveraging their dominant positions to stifle competition and innovation in this rapidly evolving AI sector, with potential outcomes that could reshape the industry landscape, right? If you're a federal investigator right now, you're going to have your hands full, by looking at almost these monopolies that these couple of companies are forming, right? And we've talked about acqui-hire, right? Microsoft essentially hired a competitor by acquiring them. So I think that we're going to be hearing a lot in these federal investigations and what they ultimately mean, right? But here's the reality, right? OpenAI. Who would have thought that it is by far, I think, even though it's not the most valuable company in the world, it is actually one of the most important, right? Even though, yes, it is still technically a startup, it's at least not currently generating hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue yet, like a lot of these other big tech companies. But you have to think they are probably one of the more important companies, because right now they are powering Microsoft, right? Microsoft's obviously working behind the scenes on developing its own model, so it has less of a reliance, but Microsoft has invested reportedly $13 billion into this partnership with OpenAI. And right now, the GPT-4o model is powering, the current version of Windows, right? And it's powering Copilot. And now we have the same thing with Apple. It is going to be powering Apple's iOS and a lot of their AI features that, Apple just announced. So very interesting times. All right. We have one more story, but I'm just going to tease it. You got to go check it out in the newsletter because it's kind of technical. I didn't want to bore y'all by going over the technical details, but a new GPT-4o challenger from Chinese company SenseTime has just popped up with their SenseNova 5.5 that, according to them, is out benchmarking OpenAI's most powerful model, GPT-4o. So make sure you go to the newsletter at youreverydayai.com to check that out. All right. So question or a comment here from Raul. Love this. And the answer is absolutely. So he's asking, so is the benefit for OpenAI is that they will start gathering all the data from Apple users? Seems a very expensive way to market their product. So yes, Apple has historically been a leader in data privacy. So once that does roll out, it should be pretty interesting on what those data sharing permissions are. But presumably when you do allow, right? So at least in Apple's keynotes, essentially if there's a query that you ask of their Apple Intelligence that it cannot handle on device, it will prompt you to, do you want to use essentially ChatGPT for this query? I'm guessing so many people are going to hit yes, or there may be a setting that just always allows you to click yes. And in that case, you probably are waiving a lot of those privacy rights to OpenAI and to ChatGPT. But yeah, in the long run, so much of what's valuable now, right? It's like, oh, what's the new gold? What's the new oil? People are saying it's AI. Yes, it's AI, but ultimately it's data. Right. So yes, I would assume, Raul, that is going to be one of the main plays. All right. So that is a wrap. So let me just go ahead. We're going to recap. Kind of our top stories here. So number one, we open up with OpenAI getting hacked with their internal details stolen, according to reports from Bloomberg. Also, Tesla unveiled its second generation humanoid robot, Optimus Gen 2, at the World AI Conference in Shanghai. Our next piece of AI news that matters is reportedly the smarter Siri is not going to be coming until spring 2025. Yes, so we're going to get, still that not very smart assistant, even with the new iOS 18 update. And then next we had Apple joining Microsoft as a non-voting board member at OpenAI, which we do think is really going to get some investigations heated up. And then last but not least, make sure to check out in our newsletter, Chinese company SenseTime have released a new GPT-4o challenger that they say is out benchmarking GPT-4o on 5 of 8 major benchmarks. All right. And speaking of the newsletter, a lot more there, as well as you call the shots. Tomorrow, so on most Mondays, we have our AI News That Matters, a quick recap of news that matters to you. On Tuesdays, we generally do our Hot Take Tuesdays, where I come in and give you my hot take on something. So make sure to check out our newsletter because you're calling the shots, right? So if you're listening on the podcast, I'm going to give you 4 different options and you choose tomorrow's show. It doesn't get more live or unscripted than this, y'all. So you are going to vote what our show is going to be tomorrow. So make sure you go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter to vote on that. So thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.